Hey, what's up, card fighters? So I'm here to showcase this really cool deck idea that I got. So you guys do know that I did progenitate or procreate is the word I'm looking for. I don't know. I did make the sealed, not sealed, the stealth mode Valsagra deck where I just basically took the stealth engine and its like amazing ability to deck thin slash soul charge, and I put it in Balsagra because like it really made sense because you ideally want to soul blast two every turn, but if you're playing the regular version of Balsagra, at least back in that time period, you would eventually run out of soul, and you're just basically like a three attack deck that just swings like monetarily big numbers, but they're all just one damage at the end of the day. So the way I created the deck was I want to be able to Soul Blast 2 every turn to essentially like outgrind my opponent because I was clearing their front row every turn as well while putting on that Vanguard pressure. So I took that idea and I put it in Overlord. Um, Originally, this was not the deck I was supposed to take that day to locals. I was actually supposed to take a different version of Overlord. I was supposed to take like a more control version that I tried building on my break while I was at work, and then I tried to like resculpt it. I believe, yeah, before I went to locals because I had a doctor's appointment that day. So I tried to resculpt the control list. It just really wasn't working out. Like I don't feel like control like that will work in this meta game right now. I feel like the meta's too fast, and you just kind of have to let go of the pace of the game. So I completely scrapped that list, and I just made this list. I was like, oh, what if I just made like a more aggressive version of Overlord that like deck thinned, and like the soul doesn't really matter too much, like besides your Nahalims, but the real goal of the deck is to just deck thin, deck thin, deck thin, and then just hit triggers on your quad drive. Oh, you quad drive from your double Vanguard restand. But let's get into this. Let's actually like speed this up a little bit. I think 1.5 will be nice. My opponent, which is actually shout outs to Richard, he let me borrow the promo because I didn't buy the Overlord promo. I didn't have access to the Overlord promo at my locals because my locals never got them. So I asked him if I could borrow it. I really wanted to play the Overlord deck. I never really got a chance to play the Overlord deck, so I just kind of use this as like my one shot into being able to play that deck. So he's playing SHOJODOJI. It's just his favorite aesthetic of Dragon Empire. He really likes Dragon Empire as a whole, but like the ninja slash samurai aesthetic is just his favorite. So he's trying his best to make the build work. We're going second here. We draw. We pitched that because essentially it is a 15k shield later on in the game, but in the early games you would rather just keep the 15k shield. So it's okay to ditch that, and then you see here that we do play a Forktail on turn 1. I don't really care if my opponent damage denies me here. My whole idea is that I'm just trying to rush down my opponent while deck thinning my deck at the same time. So we swing 8 at the Vanguard. He takes it. We get a Chalice. We were playing Chalice in this build because the deck does have a problem with Persona Ride. He checks OT defensively, which I don't. I told him, like, I literally gave him the thumbs up. I'm like, I am glad to see it. I do not care. Like, as long as it's out of the game. But the reason that we chose to play Chalice was in the beginning we were only playing one Nahalim. I've since revised the deck to play like two Nahalims in the main deck because I basically had like a 2 of slash 1 of flex spot, which I was just playing a 1 Chalice and I was playing a 1 main deck regular Overlord just as an extra search target was the idea. We do see him get the grade 3 here off the top from his ride line. He was able to call it down and get a draw, so that's just really good for him starting out. He plays a Forktail here. Obviously, his whole deck is stealth, so it's just be like very. It's gonna be very rare that you see him whiff with the Forktail. There would be times where I whiff the Forktail, obviously, because I believe I'm only running 12 stealth cards in total. Yeah, 12 stealth cards in total. But you see, he's just gonna have like a really good turn two here. He has an 18k column, a 10k Vanguard, and a 13k rear guard. So he's gonna swing with the rear guard first, which he doesn't run front, so that's fine. Then he's gonna swing on my rear guard. I take it, and this is 18-18, and I decided to just take that as well. Right, so I'm on the play. I do ditch Chalice here just because it is kind of like clogging up my hand right now because I can't really use it until turn 5 because we're riding DOTE on turn 4, so we just ditch it and then we use our ride line here because I already do have a PG in hand, I believe. We use our ride line to search out another Forktail just to get that extra deck thin. So we deck thin one by searching the Forktail, and ideally we deck thin another one here by getting a stealth unit off the Forktail search. So we've decked in 2 cards in second turn of the game. Well, 3 cards technically with our draw for turn. Here we're searching for a DOTE here. I think if I would in this situation, if I got it, I would have actually added it to hand because that's another deck thin, and I don't really care if he damage denies me on turn 3 because it's my turn 4 that really matters. Like my turn 3 is basically like just a throwaway turn. But we do swing 10 at the Vanguard. He's thinking about guarding it. He decides to just take it. We get a PG here, so, no real reason to search PGs. It would have just probably clogged us at this point. We swing, he blocks that one, and then he passes turn, or I pass turn. Which, if he was going to block one... Oh, no, no, no. No, I could see the theory here, because the theory here is if he takes the first one, gets a defensive, he doesn't have to block the second one. Calls out the Forktail from the bind zone off the ride line, I believe. Or no, off the grade 1. And he was just able to get another stealth unit in deck. So this deck just really, like, deck thins super efficiently, which I was actually talking to him during the game. Like, he was running, like, 6 crit, 6 draw, I believe. And I was talking to him, like, dude, like, this is, like, a super aggressive strategy that, like, deck thins like crazy. Why wouldn't you just play, like, 8 crit, 3 front? That feels like the best, like, optimal trigger lineup to me. Because that's exactly what I was doing for my Overlord list. Like, I wasn't playing draw triggers because, like, how much we were deck thinning, like, draws would deck us out. And, like, I did actually got in the last round of the tournament, I actually was decked out because I hit the over trigger like a turn previous, and I had, like, just a certain amount of cards in deck, and he 6 damage healed, and that's what decked me out. He was just explaining to me SHOJODOJI's abilities, how he can choose a circle that doesn't have any rear guards on it, because SHOJODOJI does choose circles. And I believe that still hits, if I'm not mistaken. I just go ahead and guard both. Draw for turn. I discard what I draw. Calling out the Nahalem. So because my hand is, like, very defensive, I'm confident in my ability to survive his next turn, but I am technically playing from behind right now. So that's why I choose to attack the rear guard, just want to get some Vanguard restands off. I pitched an extra copy of Overlord, I really don't need it in this scenario. And I believe I go after his other rear guard, if I'm not mistaken. Or do I go for his Vanguard? I go for the Vanguard, I believe. And I do check a heal here, which is, like, very clutch. So now Nahalem's 25, the other column's 28. These are, like, really good key numbers here. Now I swing for 28. He does choose to guard this. So I guess he really doesn't want to leave 3 damage right now, considering I'm at 2. Like, 2 to 4 is, like, a really big difference. He does Persona right here. But because I did heal, like, his edge, like, from me, like, being behind, now I'm in more of a comfortable position to, like, I'm gonna survive his turn, but now I don't have to use so many cards to survive his turn. He's gonna use SHOJODOJI here to get 2. No, he's not using SHOJODOJI. He's using the ride lines, like, their individual effects to call themselves from the bind zone. He's gonna swing. I believe this column's 28 here. I do choose to take it. I do get another defensive, which puts me up to 23. Now he's using SHOJODOJI to put those 2 into soul and to call one out. which now he's Soul Blasted to draw a card. Which, does he draw his card? Did he draw his card already? I believe he drew his card already, or maybe he just forgot. I do choose to take the Vanguard swing, and I do get another defensive here. That puts my Vanguard up to 33, which I believe both these still hit, but I think he tries to swing for the rears. Honestly, if I were him, I would probably swing for the rear guards here if they're just like a 15k. If they're a 5k shield regardless, I would have just swung for the rear guards. And like, because in this scenario, it would be kind of like forcing your opponent to intercept, except you're attacking the interceptor, so they can't protect the interceptor if they wanted to keep it on board. So I'll go ahead and swing for Vanguard 23 here. He's thinking how he should guard it. He decides to just take it. I do top deck the Drag Ritter, so this is just really good because now I'm able to make the Nahalem column just like 28. Restand. And now we're going to swing. So now this is the Nahalem column's 28, the other column's 28, my Vanguard's 23. He does decide to take it here because his hand really isn't sexy in terms of guarding value. But now these columns are 38s instead. And I was just explaining to him he would need like a 20k shield at least instead of 15 because they are 38. So that's what he does. He guards with 20, and then I swing again. And then he guards with 25 this time. So that's the end of my turn. Going on to his turn here. I don't believe he has Persona Ride. Oh, nope, he has Chalice, so he's able to Persona Ride anyway, which is really good. Like, yeah, man, like, this deck is, like, way better than people, like, think it is. Like, I would actually just, what's it called? I would actually just, play this as, like, a really aggressive rush deck. Like, this deck is, like, it's not like, it doesn't play like Minerva, but like it's the same like type of aggressive like play style of Minerva, whereas you're like, I just want to like attack you and go face from turn 1. So that persona is really going to help him out here. I believe we were just going over what the order does. Oh, okay. So we were going over the fact that when the order says that the unit it binds goes back to hand at the end of the turn. We were going over the fact that like if he calls that grade 3, it's considered a new unit because it's considered a unit because it's not in the bind zone anymore. So it wouldn't be the same unit from the bind zone because it's considered a new card because it was transferred from the bind zone to the playing field. So he wouldn't be able to add that card back to hand. He does put my bind my Nahalem, which means I'm just going to get it back to hand next turn. But it's just getting rid of an interceptor here. Which he does use his Rylaine's ability, the grade 2, to Soul Blast 1 to get it back out, just to make another pressure column. So this is 28 here to my Vanguard. Do I take it? I do have a 20k shield in hand. Or do I decide to take it in case my opponent try and heal block my opponent? Because I also do have 3 PGs in hand. So it is a toss-up here. That's what I was thinking of. And I do decide to take it. I do get another defensive here. My opponent just basically like went like wow. He is going to use the card's effect again to get his draw off. But I'm going to PG anyway. Like my plan was to just PG all of his attacks. He gets a draw trigger. And he gets another draw trigger because he's playing 6 draws, and I'm just like, damn, bro, like, your deck is, like, going out so fast. I have a little bit of rumbling here. I don't remember from what, but there was a little bit of the rumbles. Oh, no, because we had, like, some guys playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Right beside us, and, like, another guy, like, opening a Yu-Gi-Oh! Box. So maybe that's what it was. I do Persona right here. And then I call out the Burning Horn to check for the DOTE. We're really just deck thinning here at this point to try and like check triggers, because that is, that's the strategy of Overlord anyway. Like that's how Overlord wins games, is just like your trigger checks. So up the consistency on that. Am I right? We call Nahal to the back row, just give our Vanguard power. We want the Burning Horns in the front row because they just make better attackers because they're going to get a +5 every time my Vanguard attacks. We're swinging here for 33. He's thinking how to guard because he only has access to like 1 PG in hand. The rest are pretty much like 115, 110k shield, and then everything else in his hand is just 5ks. So he has the one to pass me here. I do check the over trigger here, hashtag ban DOTE, and just 100 million to the Vanguard, and that really what ends the game. The reason that there's no game 2 or 3 is because my opponent, he did make a misplay on his first grade 3 ride. He went first, and he forgot to do something to where he wouldn't get his 4th attack off of SHOJODOJI, and he scooped the game from there. He told me, man, like, I've just been misplaying so much in the second game, like, you got it. And he just really gave me the game, which was kind of disheartening. He was like, oh, it wouldn't make good content, which, I thought the first game was pretty good. It was a really good back and forth. He got to do his turns, like he persona like 3 times, I believe, and I got to do my turns. So I still want to showcase the first match of this video, and I pretty much just like trimmed out the second match because he just scooped when he got to grade 3. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, guys. And we are going to be showcasing more Vash videos of this deck. If you checked out our community post, we do have an upload schedule now. So on the upload schedule, Monday through Tuesdays are going to be commentated card fights like this, and then Wednesday is going to be the deck profile of the deck I was playing in those card fights, and then Thursday and Friday are going to be commentated card fights again, and then Saturday is going to be the deck profile of those card fights. And then Sunday I'm going to use as like a discussion topic video. I know like I rarely don't have like much I do want to discuss, but there has been like some things that I have been jotting down. Like I do have like a notepad and I jot down certain things that I would like to discuss about this game. But anyways, guys, later.